Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Portsmouth Planning Commission work session for today, August 3rd, 2021. Mr. Baldwin?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good afternoon, Commissioners. It's great to see you all again in person. You might notice we have a little bit of a short staff today. We have a few people taking their well-deserved summer vacation breaks, and so you're getting the A team. We'll just say that. So we'll go ahead and get started today. You have a relatively light agenda. We'll go through the two public hearing items that will be on your agenda today first, and then there's a new business item discussing the resolution for making some minor modifications to the zoning ordinance that I'll discuss after we get through with that. So if you are ready, we'll go ahead and have Stacy come up and do Z2104.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. All right. Okay, well, our first case would be Z2104. This is a request of Harvard U Associates for rezoning for 1 Mohawk Drive. And I'll go ahead and start. And for the purpose of our video, I'm Stacy Porter, Senior Planner with the Planning Department, and I'll provide an overview of the applicant's request. Okay. This exhibit right here, this map that we created on the left of the slide, does clearly depict exactly the rezoning request. The property at 1 Mohawk Drive will be subdivided. It's the rear portion that they want to rezone from URM to GMU. The existing property is contains a one-story, 800 square foot home that was built in 1960. The total square footage for the lot is 11,600 square feet. The entire lot is currently zoned multifamily urban residential URM. And I'll now provide an overview of the surrounding area. To the north and east is the Dale Shopping Center. As you'll see in the photo at the top left, contains a lumber business right directly to the north and east. This is formerly the Dale's Hardware Store. This property is zoned General Mixed Use, GMU. To the north is a mixture of commercial establishments, as you can see at the bottom right of the slide. Also zoned General Mixed Use, GMU. To the south and west is the Rolling Wood neighborhood, which is primarily characterized by single-family residential development, zoned multifamily urban residential URM. Again, I'm just going to show that same map I showed a little bit earlier, including the subdivision plat that was presented by the applicant. The staff requested that the applicant provide this plat to fully demonstrate the subdivision. The shaded triangular portion of the property will eventually be subdivided off and added to the lumber business property to the north and the east. The subdivided parcel is approximately 2,900 square feet in size. The remaining parcel at 1 Mohawk Drive will be approximately 8,800 square feet in size and will still meet that URM zoning district's lot size requirement and will still contain that single-family home. In conclusion, upon subdividing and rezoning the rear portion of 1 Mohawk Drive, the parcel will be added to the adjacent commercial business located to the north and east. According to the generalized future land use map of the Build 1 Portsmouth Comprehensive Plan, the commercial parcel is a part of a mixed-use corridor. The request to subdivide and rezone the parcel would still allow the commercial parcel to maintain consistency with the recommendation of our comprehensive plan. And that concludes the presentation.
Commissioners, are there any questions for Ms. Porter?
Yes, please.
Would you bring up the overview of the lots? There you go.
Okay,
Just south of where it says GMU, where the lumber business.
okay, okay.
Just south of where it says GMU and where
Yes.
that pie shape slivers in,
Yes.
what is on the property right where you are now?
That is a portion of that same lumber business right here. I had to
Okay.
actually ride, it's a little roadway right here that's not showing up, but it's a part of that lumber business.
That's what I was thinking.
Yes.
And so what he's proposing is actually widening or giving better access to it.
It really does. It really helps that lumber business.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, well, that
Yes.
answers my question.
Okay.
I couldn't tell from the street.
Sure, absolutely.
Any additional questions for Ms. Porter? Thank you.
Okay. Okay, I'll just go to the next one. All right, our next request was a use permit, UP 21-12. Request of Wynn Property Management for a use permit at 2001 Azalea Avenue for a two-family dwelling. Okay. Again, good afternoon. I'm Stacy Porter, one of the senior planners with the Planning Department, and I'll provide an overview of the applicant's request. The property contains a two-story, single-family home as noted in the photo. The home is 1,300 square feet in size, constructed in 1920. The property is zoned urban residential UR. The property improvements will be raised in preparation for the proposed two-family structure. I'll now provide an overview of the surrounding area. The surrounding area would be the Prentice Park neighborhood. There is a mixture of multifamily urban residential URM and urban residential UR zoning within the vicinity of the parcel. The surrounding Prentice Park neighborhood contains a mixture of residential development types. This was included in your packet. This was the site plan that was provided by the applicant. The proposed two-family dwelling would be constructed with a building area of 1,824 square feet, a crawl space, and a height not to exceed 36 feet, which is the maximum height allowed within the urban residential UR district. Each unit will have its own two-car, 32-foot-long surface driveway. Again, this was included in your packets and may be better seen there. These are the floor plans offered, showing the 3 stories. The interior of each duplex will provide for a first-floor one-car garage, great room, and half bath. The second floor will consist of a kitchen, great room, and laundry room. The third story will provide 3 full bedrooms and 2 full bathrooms. These were the building elevations that were provided. Each unit will have their own garage on the front face of the structure, a covered front porch, and a rear deck. According to the applicant, the proposed exterior facade will be vinyl siding using a color palette that complements the residential structures in the property's vicinity. And in conclusion, the comprehensive plan recommends high-density, single-family residential development for the parcel. Developing new and denser residential development is appropriate for this parcel. According to the plan, the site also falls within the neighborhood investment focus area, an area that supports infill lot development and reinvestment. The proposed development is consistent with the intent of the neighborhood investment focus area. Therefore, staff recommends the approval of the applicant's request with the conditions listed. And that concludes the presentation.
Commissioners, are there any questions of Ms. Porter?
Yes, I have. Ms. Porter, have you gotten any comments back from the neighbors?
Was just a lady that lived on the back side of this proposed development, and she was interested in a fence being put up, and I told her there's not much we can do about that.
Okay.
But that
okay.
was the only thing I got.
Good, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Porter.
Okay.
Thank you again, Mr. Chairman. Under new business, we do want to discuss, as I mentioned before, some necessary zoning amendments that staff has been becoming aware of and working on a little bit. As I think the planning commissioners are probably aware, the process the city has for amending the zoning ordinance requires initial authorization from either the planning commission or city council, and our typical is to come to planning commission and ask for authorization to proceed to work on these zoning amendments. And with the new ordinance we have in place, we know we're going to have, some minor tweaks as we apply it, and some, modifications that need to be made to correct any errors or oversights or whatever. So we have everything from housekeeping, some typos and heading changes. Then we have a couple of a little bit more larger, but still minor modifications to like the use table, things of that nature we're working on. And so what we'd like to request today is to get authorization with the resolution that was provided to you yesterday, I believe. And that just authorizes staff to work on these resolutions and bring them back for public hearing for the Planning Commission. The schedule will be to bring the public hearing items back at your meeting in September, and for these to go to City Council in October. So again, mostly housekeeping type modifications. I will tell you, this is not be the last time we'll be coming before the Planning Commission asking for authority. As we apply the ordinance and we come across things that we need to either clarify or modify, we're trying to make sure our new ordinance stays current. And when we come across things we think are not clear or not correct or out of date, then we'd like to get those corrected as quickly as we can. And I'll just make one other comment. We didn't do that this year, didn't have anything from General Assembly. We typically will have at least one run of code amendments you'll see after the General Assembly session. Of course, they go into regular session in January. They fairly typically make changes to the zoning, land use regulations in the state code. Many times that'll trigger us to have to update or amend the city zoning ordinances. So we have that kind of on a regular schedule, and we will be, kind of adding into that over the course of time when we come across a few things that we think need to be amended, adjusted in the ordinance, and bring those before the Planning Commission to try to get the code updated. So that'll be on your agenda for today, basically to approve the resolution to authorize us to work on the amendments.
Commissioners, are there any questions of Mr. Baldwin?
Let me just make one other comment.
Sure, thank you.
When you're in your regular open meeting, Meg Pittenger will read the resolution into the record as part of that process.
Okay. Mr. Baldwin, are there any other things that we need to?
That is it for today, unless you have any questions for staff.
Commissioners, are there any additional questions? There being none, that concludes today's work session. We will begin our regular meeting at 1:30.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to welcome you all to this very important meeting today, Tuesday, August 3rd, 2021, being held in the City Council chambers. Madam Secretary.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioners, I will now confirm that all members of the Planning Commission are present by calling the roll. Commissioners, when I call your name, please reply with verbal response. Commissioner Williams?
Present.
Commissioner Youngblood?
Present.
Commissioner Thaxton?
Present.
Commissioner G? Commissioner Coleman?
Present.
Commissioner Page?
Present.
Commissioner Barnes?
Present.
6 members of Planning Commission are present. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Commissioners, before you are the minutes of the July 6, 2021 public hearing. If there aren't any changes, we're in need of a motion to approve the minutes. A motion and a second.
Commissioner Page, so moved.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Commissioner Barnes, second.
Madam Secretary, we have a motion and a second.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes from the July 6, 2021 public hearing. Commissioners, as I call your name, please reply with a verbal response. Commissioner Williams?
Yes.
Commissioner Youngblood?
Yes.
Commissioner Thaxton?
Yes.
Commissioner Coleman?
Yes.
Commissioner Page?
Yes.
Commissioner Barnes?
Yes.
Minutes are approved by a vote of 6-0. Announcement of future meetings and conferences. Please note that our next scheduled work session is Tuesday, September 7th, 2021, at 12:30 p.m. in the City Council Chamber, followed by a public hearing at 1:30 p.m. in the City Council Chamber. Items reviewed today will be presented to City Council for action at their September 14th, 2021 public meetings or as otherwise noted. Planning Commission rules limit a speaker for up to 5 minutes to speak. We also ask that everyone please silence your cell phones at this time if you have not already done so. Thank you. Our first public hearing item is Z-21-04 Rollingwood. Hoggart & Ure Associates, P.C., on behalf of Albert G. Dale, proposes to subdivide the rear portion of his property at number 1 Mohawk Drive and rezone it from multifamily urban residential, URM, to general mixed-use, GMU. Upon rezoning, the property will be joined to the adjacent property at 4387 Portsmouth Boulevard, which is currently zoned general mixed-use, GMU. The property to be rezoned is further identified as Tax Map 441, Parcel 33. The generalized future land use map of the Build One Portsmouth Comprehensive Plan indicates that the parcel to be rezoned will be joined to the parcel that is part of a mixed-use corridor. Staff coordinator is Stacy Porter. Will the applicant or representative for this application please come forward and present your application at this time?
Good afternoon, Chairman Williams and members of the Portsmouth Planning Commission. I'm Rayford Ure, Hoggart Ure Associates, 901 Port Center Parkway, Portsmouth, Virginia. I'm here to represent Mr. Albert Dale in the rezoning of this portion, triangular portion of property that is contiguous to property already zoned commercial, industrial, or whatever. And this is something that probably is long overdue, but it just got around to doing it with the advent of decks and docks occupying what used to be Dale's Hardware. They are very good tenants, it looks like, and are here to stay, and they are desirous of expanding this property and using it to complement the adjacent properties they already occupy. I'll be glad to answer any questions you might have. Thank you.
Commissioners, are there any questions of the applicant's representative?
Mr. Chairman, I have a question for Stacy Porter. Ms. Porter, have you gotten any comments from the neighbors?
Yes, actually, I did get 2 calls. There was a little bit of confusion. They thought that the entire property was going to be rezoned, and they wanted to know if it was going to still be a single-family home on the property, but I had to really explain it was just the back portion that would be rezoned. But other than that, that was all I got.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Commissioners, are there any additional questions? Madam Secretary.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a public hearing on item Z-21-04. We have no registered speakers. If there is someone here who would like to speak and did not get the opportunity to register, please come forward, state your name and address for the record, and you will be given up to 5 minutes to speak. Appearing to be none, Mr. Chairman, members of the Planning Commission, this public hearing is now closed.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Commissioners, is there any further discussion? If not, we're in need of a motion and a second.
Commissioner Youngblood, I make a motion that we accept Z-21-04 as presented.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Madam Secretary.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioners, as I call your name, please reply with a verbal response. Commissioner Williams. Yes. Commissioner Youngblood.
Yes.
Commissioner Thaxton. Yes. Commissioner Coleman.
Yes.
Commissioner Page.
Yes.
Commissioner Barnes.
Yes.
This item is approved by a vote of 6-0. Our next item is UP-21-12 Prentice Park. Wynn Property Management requests a use permit at 2001 Azalea Avenue to develop a two-family dwelling. The property is approximately 0.17 acres in size and is zoned urban residential UR. The property is further described as tax map 121 parcel 5. The generalized future land use map of the Build One Portsmouth comprehensive plan recommends high-density, single-family residential development. Staff coordinator is Stacy Porter. Will the applicant or representative for this application please come forward and present your application at this time?
Good evening. How's the council doing today? Good. I'm Valencia Kelly, and I'm representing Wynn Property Management. What we intend to do is tear down the existing unit and make two duplex unit with two families, for two families. So, any questions?
Commissioners, are there any questions for Ms. Kelly?
Yes, sir, I've got one question.
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, what's the approximate square foot for each unit?
Each unit, I believe, is about 1,600 square feet
For each unit or for the entire building?
for each unit, and a garage.
Okay, okay, thank you.
Commissioners, are there any additional questions of Ms. Kelly? Thank you, Ms. Kelly.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a public hearing on item UP-21-12. We have no registered speakers. If there is someone here who would like to speak and did not get an opportunity to register, please come forward and state your name and address for the record, and you'll be given up to 5 minutes to speak. Appearing to be none, Mr. Chairman, members of the Planning Commission, this public hearing is now closed.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Commissioners, is there any further discussion? If
Yes,
not-
sir, Mr. Chairman, I've got one question, once again for Ms. Porter. I know that you notified all of the neighbors. Did you have any comments from the neighbors regarding this property, this building?
Sure. I did mention in the work session that I did get a call from the neighbor that is behind. I think she says she was right behind this particular property. She wanted to ask if there was going to be a fence built between her property and this one, and I told her we wouldn't have control over that, but that there was landscaping proposed.
So there was no issue with any of the neighbors about having a multifamily building 3 stories tall?
No one said anything to
Good.
me.
Good, thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Commissioners, are there any additional questions? There being none, the chair is now in need of a motion and a second.
So moved.
We have a motion to approve UP-21-12. Is there a second?
I second to approve UP 21-12 with conditions.
We have a motion and a second. Madam Secretary.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioners, as I call your name, please reply with a verbal response. Commissioner Williams,
Yes.
Commissioner Youngblood,
Yes.
Commissioner Thaxton,
Yes.
Commissioner Coleman,
Yes.
Commissioner Page,
Yes.
Commissioner Barnes.
Yes.
This item is approved with a vote of 6-0.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Commissioners, we now have under new business a resolution to initiate work on code changes. Madam Secretary.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For the record, I will read the resolution into the record. A resolution to initiate amendments to the zoning ordinance to be prepared by staff. Whereas, from time to time, the public necessity, convenience, and general welfare and good zoning practice warrant the evaluation and consideration of modifications to the City of Portsmouth zoning ordinance, and whereas the zoning ordinance should be maintained as a living document adjusting to the needs of the community as determined appropriate by the Planning Commission and City Council. And whereas on December 8th, 2020, City Council adopted and amended and restated the zoning ordinance as Chapter 40.2 of the City Code, and whereas the amended and restated zoning ordinance took effect on February 1st, 2021, and whereas, as with any zoning ordinance, it is anticipated, any new zoning ordinance, it has been anticipated that many minor amendments will be necessary to address matters that arise as staff begins implementation, and whereas in 2021, City Council approved an initial set of minor amendments to the signage and parking provisions, and whereas staff has identified several additional minor issues, and the Planning Commission deems it appropriate for staff to prepare proposed amendments to the zoning ordinance to address those and any other issues staff may identify. Now therefore be it resolved by the Planning Commission of the City of Portsmouth, Virginia, that staff is instructed to prepare draft amendments to the zoning ordinance addressing issues that reasonably require consideration by the Planning Commission and City Council, adopted by Planning Commission of the City of Portsmouth, Virginia, at an electronic meeting, that should be an in-person meeting, held on August 3rd, 2021.
Commissioners, is there any further discussion of the resolution? If none, the chair is in need of a motion and a second.
Commissioner Coleman, I approve the resolution to authorize the amendments to the zoning ordinance.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
A second, Peter Youngblood.
We have a motion and a second. Madam Secretary.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioners, as I call your name, please reply with a verbal response. Commissioner Williams.
Yes.
Commissioner Youngblood.
Yes.
Commissioner Thaxton.
Yes.
Commissioner Coleman.
Yes.
Commissioner Page.
Yes.
Commissioner Barnes.
Yes.
This item is approved 6-0.
Madam Secretary, I believe that concludes our agenda for today. Is that correct?
That is correct, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioners, is there any further discussion or business? Mr. Baldwin, is there any further business?
No, Mr. Chairman, we have no further business.
There being none, this meeting is now adjourned.